This is Robby and Rexrode with Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
And welcome into the Wednesday edition of Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Wednesday morning. Hope everybody is doing well. We got a lot to get to on the program here today. Adam Vingan dropping by at 7:30. We'll get into the Nashville Predators and the Stanley Cup playoffs with him. Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com for his weekly visit at 8 o'clock. And we got a lot to discuss with PK, so looking forward to that as well. Joe Rexrode, good morning. How are you?
Tired and angry.
It's a tough game one for your Warriors. Did you stay up the whole time?
Yeah. I don't know why Steph decides to go into the paint and try to hit a floater when Anthony Davis is standing right there. But what can I complain about with Steph? I mean, if not for him, it's not even close.
Steph, be better. You got to be better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, come on, Steph. Make every play perfect. Come on.
Lakers win.
Lakers are tough, man.
Yeah, they are. Lakers win 117-112 last night. They take a 1-0 series lead in that series. So, Lakers get a few days off, and Golden State basically goes right into it there. But that is an impressive win on the road for the Lakers in Game 1. Anthony Davis, 30 points last night. LeBron with 22 points and 11 rebounds. And Dennis Schroeder with 19 off the bench as well. So a good start in the series for the Lakers. And as you said, Joe, Golden State with an opportunity last night. Klay Thompson didn't shoot particularly well last night, 9 of 25 from the field. He did have 25 points last night. But I think a lot of people thought the Lakers would win Game 1. And I've seen a whole lot of, not just here at our station, but like around the NBA world of Lakers win Game 1, Golden State wins the series talk. So maybe it's right on schedule, Joe. We'll see.
We'll see. But LeBron's able to stand around and let D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves do a lot of offense.
Yeah.
And they're tough to deal with. And that's a nice – I mean, in a lot of games, he's just basically kind of like a spot-up shooter, just kind of letting people, which is great. Then when he wants to really take over, he still can. Man, it's amazing that at one trading deadline, you completely basically change your team other than your two stars, and it's perfect,
It works really well. So Lakers take a 1-0 series lead, and that one, the Knicks even things up last night, 111-105 against the Miami Heat. I'm not worried. Jimmy didn't play last night, Joe, and it was still a good game. So I'm not worried about it moving forward. Only thing I'm worried about is Jimmy's ankle. Needs to get that thing better.
Yeah, that was fun to watch the Garden and every single celebrity that lives in New York
Yes.
cheering on the Knicks.
Aaron Rodgers was there. Big New York sports fan now.
Yeah, I mean, half the Jets team was there, But I'm with you. I mean, no Butler, and they still were right there after winning the Game 1. Man, the Heat. Whew.
Looking good. We'll see how that goes if Jimmy Butler can play. And he rolled his ankle in Game 1. He played through it and apparently wanted to play last night, and the medical staff shut that down. But we'll see if he's ready to go in Game 3 and what a difference that makes. Stanley Cup playoffs last night. The Florida Panthers go on the road, and they take down the mighty Toronto Maple Leafs 4-2 last night. So the Panthers up 1-0 in that series. And the Seattle Kraken go on the road and take down Dallas 5-4 in overtime. Joe Pavelski back for the Stars last night. Scores 4 goals for the Stars last night, but that was not enough. Seattle wins again. And the one thing I've learned about the playoffs, and we make a big deal about this every year, home ice advantage in the Stanley Cup playoffs means absolutely nothing. I mean, it means nothing.
No, it means something in basketball. It doesn't mean much at all in hockey. I mean, it felt like it meant a ton in the Stanley Cup final in 2017,
Yeah.
But usually I don't think it does. Another thing going on in the sports world. So we had the Miami Hurricanes and Florida Atlantic in the Final Four. Now we got the Panthers doing what they're doing.
Yep.
Now we got the Heat doing what they're doing. Is this enough for anyone who actually lives down there to notice that there are sports teams in the area?
I might actually show up to some games. I don't know. That's a good question.
The Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah, it's been a pretty good run down there. Like South Florida.
That's the other side of the state, but
right.
Yeah.
South Florida in particular, not a great sports time. Even I'm a Heat fan, and I've been to some Heat games. Not a great crowd down there, but a lot of success down there, Joe. A lot of success.
It's weird.
Yeah, I know.
It's the new Boston.
Yeah, I don't even think they know what to do with it down there. So we'll see if they can keep that going. We got a lot to get to on the Titans front today as well. Nice of Mike Vrabel to catch up with Chase and Michelle yesterday. Really good stuff there.
Yeah.
Joe, what'd you think of what Vrabel had to say yesterday on Chase and Michelle? By the way, if you missed it, check out the Chase and Michelle podcast, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, it's over, and then Chase makes a joke about Vrabel swearing, and I'm like, wait, Vrabel said a naughty word? I didn't know. Was that Keyser producing?
Yeah.
Yes.
I tell you what, man, that's such a seamless job of producing. I did not notice that he said a bad word and that got dumped.
Well, that's the idea.
But I know. But a lot of times you do, right? Like a lot of times it's just this abrupt, like, whoa, why did it go to there? Like, wait, what happened? What did I miss? I didn't have that. I didn't detect that. So I'm assuming Vrabel, that was his intentional attempt to try to get us an FCC violation, get us off the air.
Maybe so. Don't know.
He didn't even stutter. It was just it flew.
Just kept going.
It flowed naturally.
Honestly,
we know
word.
We know that Vrabel can be a wordsmith at times, Joe, as you've pointed out.
Yeah, well, and you know what? That word should be fine anyway. I mean, honestly, fine. The F word shouldn't be allowed, but everything else should be fine, right?
Probably not.
Other than that, I was enthralled by the interview.
Yes, I'm sure.
He was so excited.
He was
hang
very
out with
excited
us.
as the tradition continues of Mike Vrabel being very excited to discuss the inner workings of his football team with the media. I think we learned that firsthand yesterday, Joe. It was good stuff.
Next time, whenever that is, it should just be told, like, just asking like what his favorite romantic comedy is and stuff like that. Just see if it's a totally off the wall question will spark him.
Well, that's the thing. Like, we've talked about this before. He's got a really good personality, in some forms, in like some occasions. Media's usually not one of them. When he wants to show it, he's got a good personality. But rarely does that come across in a press conference and or an interview setting. I'll put it that way.
Do you have your favorite soundbite from the interview, Michelle?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, we'll get to that coming up.
Okay.
Here in a little
good.
while.
Oh, in a little while?
Yeah, we'll get to that coming up here in a little while. But looking forward to that. 615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. By the way, Gunner on the text line with a question for you, Joe. Joe, can you please explain to Jared on Jared versus Joe that if Levis threw a pick at the Tennessee 10 and it was returned to the Kentucky 35, the ball wasn't thrown at Levis's own 10? Good grief, he sent a screenshot trying to back himself. It just made himself look more Stillman. This is from Gunner on the text line. So I guess Jared's saying that if you throw an interception at the 35-yard line at the Tennessee 10, I don't know what Gunner's trying to say there.
Yeah, I'm totally lost, Gunner. Like I missed whatever this is. So I'll try to catch up on what the heck you're talking about.
Well, this is 2 weeks of you kind of built up energy with Jared versus Joe today. We didn't do the Jared versus Joe last week because we had our nice NFL draft schedule or show before the draft took place, which ended up being totally accurate. Hope people go back and look at that. But 2 weeks of pent up energy with Jared versus Joe. Going to be fun today. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Jared needs a win as usual. But so is Jared Gunner to ask Gunner the question, is Jared is this a ripping Levis? Is this a excusing Levis? Like what's the argument here?
Yeah, it's a great question. Gunner, hit us up.
Let me know, Gunner.
Yeah,
let me know.
615-737-1025. Speaking of Will Levis, we've talked a lot about him obviously in the aftermath of the pick. My question now is, as the Titans move forward, whether he's starting this year or more likely next year, what do we think are tools that he brings to the table where this could work? Because we've discussed this, Joe. Like for Ran Carthon, for Mike Vrabel, for the Titans as an organization, this is who you're going with. You've drafted him in the second round, and Carthon and Vrabel specifically, in my opinion, are going to be tied to Will Levis now. If Will Levis is very successful, Obviously, that's going to mean good things for Carthon and Vrabel. If he's not successful, I mean, we see this all the time. Rand Carthon talked about it when he was first hired here. People get hired and fired all the time in the NFL based off the quarterback position. And now the Titans have married themselves to Will Levis, taking him in the second round here. So as you look at the outlook here for the Titans and the future, whenever it is that he takes over as quarterback, which is, in my opinion, latest case for that would happen would be 2024. As you watch him play, as you digest all of the information that we know about Will Levis in the pre-draft process, and now that we've looked more into Will Levis since the Titans have drafted him, what are the case? I guess build a case for Will Levis to be the right guy for the Tennessee Titans. We're going to get into that coming up next as well. Take your thoughts. 615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. Taking your thoughts on the Titans and Will Levis. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Nashville Sounds Baseball lives on 94.9 The Fan. Catch every pitch.
Swing and a miss, strike three.
Every hit.
That's a base hit.
Every run.
Looking up, it's gone.
On your home for Sounds Baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Celebrating mothers everywhere. Electronic Express has what you need to make this the best Mother's Day yet. Spoil mom with brands like Samsung, Sony, LG, Breville, Jura, and more. We've also got huge savings in every department. 4K TVs, computers, housewares, smart home, and more. Plus, save up to 40% on all appliances with up to 3 years free financing. Shop in-store or online. Get more for mom at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Hey, Ray Jeter here with Harness. Are you looking to take ownership in a position that will support your growth and development? We are an excavation and site utilities contractor. Several things set us apart from our competition, but we take the most pride in the professional development of our people. We have multiple openings for operators, pipe layers, and laborers. Our pay and benefits are second to none, including our 401k program. Apply today at selectharness.com. Harness LLC. Build people, move dirt.
Music City will be rocking June 23rd through the 25th with a different sound, the sound of NASCAR.
Start your engine!
The Ally 400 is back at Nashville Superspeedway, and this year it's a night race. NASCAR in Nashville. It's guitars and fast cars under the lights. Visit NashvilleSuperspeedway.com to get your tickets for the triple header weekend, including the Ally 400, Tennessee Lottery 250, and the Rackley Roofing 200 today.
312 Pizza Company is a proud sponsor of Nashville Sounds Baseball on 102.5 The Game.
Looking for a career with purpose or have that passion for youth development? Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee provides a safe place where youth gain the tools to learn, lead, and reach their full potential. And that starts with you, offering competitive pay and free after-school care for employees. Learn more at bgcmt.org.
The greatest American rock and roll band in history, Aerosmith, present Peace Out, the Farewell Tour. Aerosmith, with special guest the Black Crowes. Bridgestone Arena, January 10th, 2024. Get tickets this Friday at 10 a.m. at livenation.com. Aerosmith with the Black Crowes, the Farewell Tour. Peace out.
Anyone want to tell me what happened?
Did you miss any of today's show?
It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry.
Subscribe to the Robby and Rexrode podcast on Apple, Spotify, and other podcast platforms, or by going to thegamenashville.com.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
You're listening to Robby and Rexrode.
It's part of this nutritious breakfast.
Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
You draft Will Levis in the second round, and something that you had mentioned when he came in is you guys looked at the film and some of his mistakes that he made when he was at Kentucky, and I always feel like you learn more about you learn more from your mistakes than you do your successes. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I never mentioned that. I think somebody else did. I never did, but.
Well, okay. Was that a part of the process?
I think that might. Yes, it was. If you're asking me the question, yes. But I never said that that's what I did. So, but yeah, we went through that with Tim. Tim and I had him put together, a presentation of a defense that from a game that we wanted from the last couple years. talk us through the game plan, talk us through the different concepts, what he liked against certain coverages, most of the stuff that we would do with quarterbacks. But then I'd ask them to, put together things where he put the ball in harm's way.
That was Mike Vrabel yesterday on Chase and Michelle. Nice back and forth there between Vrabel and Chase.
Get it right, Chaser. Get it right, buddy.
When that started, I couldn't help but laugh. It was really good stuff yesterday from Vrabel. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, where was that initially,
Albert
by the way?
Breer.
Breer.
Okay. Yeah. Whatever, Chase. Yeah.
Terror went over my face during that back and forth.
You're in the neighborhood, and I mean, I'm sure Vrabel would love to be confused with a media person.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's basically the same level of respect.
That's right. 615-737-1025. So, Joe, I laid it out there looking at Will Levis. As you gather in all the information that we know about him looking forward here, trying to build the case that he is the right guy and that he could be the answer for this team at quarterback moving forward, and that the Titans may have found their franchise quarterback for the next 7, 8, 10, 12, however many years you want to attach to it. As you start to look at Will Levis and build that case around him, what stands out to you about Will Levis that makes you think the Titans may have found their franchise quarterback?
Well, first of all, I guess I could just take if there was such thing as like a Mel Kiper wind-up doll right now, I would just crank it, pull the string. Will Levis is the greatest quarterback in the ground. Yeah, I'm not nearly as good as Caroline Fenton at Mel Kiper. And by the way, since I'm making fun of Mel Kiper, I see the movement out there for Mel Kiper to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Absolutely, he should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, in my mind.
Let's do it.
He created this. He created this draft insanity 40 years ago. Good for him, with some awful takes too. But hey, you do draft stuff enough,
you're gonna have some doozies.
You're gonna have some doozies, and like dozens of them. But I don't think the case that he could be great is hard to make. I think first of all, like, he has all the physical attributes. He's very athletic. I think one thing that if you watched Will Levis last year that you probably missed, is the athleticism. Again, when he was at Penn State, and Penn State's offense is very different. I mean, basically, Sean Clifford was also kind of a running back first at times, quarterback second, but that's certainly what Levis was. He was their explosive running guy when he got on the field, and that's kind of what. By everything I've read, and I'm trying to connect with some people this week to do something in the written form, but he kind of blew people away with his talent once he got to Kentucky. But also, I think a big case to make for him is that he's a team captain, like a weekend. It's so much like the Josh Heupel story at Oklahoma. Like, transfer comes in, no one knows who the heck he is, and it's like a weekend. It's like, oh yeah, this guy's a captain. And that's what's interesting about with Levis, the outside perception of the personality, the social media stuff, and the brashness or whatever that people don't like. If your teammates love you, then that means a ton, sure. Obviously. And I think from the intangible standpoint, it sounds really good. And again, he can make all the throws, as they say. He is athletic enough to escape the pocket and be a threat with his legs. And it's just a question of, like, can you clean things up? And also, of course, Chase asked that question about the going through his interceptions, taking care of the ball, all that stuff. Those guys talked about it that night. They were making the case for him right after they drafted him, about how different Kentucky was one year to the other. How much of it was on him? How much was it on other things? That whatever that is, at some point, like, you obviously have to clean that stuff up. We also remember, like, Ryan Tannehill in one of his 4 years here as quarterback randomly was just throwing picks all over the place too.
Yep.
And ultimately it is on him, but there is a lot that goes into it. I think all of the tools are certainly there, and I think the biggest probably misperception is that personality thing. like if other teams hate him, other fans hate him, people on social media hate him, if he's liked in the building and he goes about things the right way, who cares?
Yeah, well, we've talked about this. Like, if he plays well and, other teams hate him and, other fan bases hate him and all those things, like Titans fans, even if you're a Titans fan that is out on the Will Levis decision, like if he plays well, you're going to eventually love all that stuff about Will Levis because he's your guy and because he's when you're I think back to, and it's much different because the circumstances are different and the personalities I think are way different. But like when Marcus like stiff-armed Barry Church with Jacksonville and like the fan base just went crazy, like Will Levis, like if he did something like that, he'd get up probably barking in somebody's face. Like you're gonna love that if you're a Titans fan if he's playing well. Now if he's not playing well, that's really what perception comes from at the NFL, right? Like if they're your team and you're playing well, then a lot of what you do you're gonna like. We talk about this with the coaching demeanor too, right? Like when it comes to an NHL head coach, we've had this discussion about like John Hines. Like people say that he doesn't show enough emotion on the bench. Well, if you're winning, that's a strength for you. If you're losing, then all of a sudden you need to show more emotion. That's what it really ultimately comes down to.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You mentioned Marcus. I don't think there's any doubt. Although Vrabel didn't really verbalize it. Now, other people did. DeMarco Murray after he left and Eric Decker after he left. I don't think there's any question that Marcus is – because that instance you pointed out, it stood out because he usually never said anything to anybody, right? And so look, Vrabel played with Tom Brady. The ultimate to me, brash, talking trash, you hate him, punchable face, but he just beat you again, guy, right? And I don't think Vrabel liked that Mariota was not as vocal as he should have been, and so Tannehill was much better. But I think the way Levis goes about things on the field, he does not. His voice is heard. And I think that's absolutely a check mark on the positive for Vrabel. I mean, who would be the most like punchable faces among quarterbacks in the NFL right now?
Rodgers?
Maybe.
Yeah, but I don't feel like Rodgers. I don't know. I mean, I think that's off the field stuff because he's so annoying and he's such a tension monger. But like on the field, the other team hates Rodgers because he beats him, but like, you know what I mean? He's not like Brady was more that to me.
Yeah, I mean, like Baker Mayfield
Phillip Rivers was more that.
Oh, Phillip Rivers, for sure. Baker's that, but Baker's not good enough to really,
Right. When he was good, Baker was the ultimate example of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. We got to be forgetting somebody. I mean, sometimes Derek Carr, maybe a little bit like that. I don't think there's enough punchable faces in the NFL. If Will Levis gets good, he will be a punchable face in the NFL, man. I mean, he will rub people the wrong way. But again, great. That's what you want. If you're a Titans fan. I gotta bring this up because I'm so confused right now. Okay. So, and of course I've lost it now. Okay, so wait a minute. Now, according to Chuck says, according to the Jared Show, the only thing Will Levis brings to the table is his mother, sister, and girlfriend. To be fair, that is a trio of a smoke show. Those are Chuck's words, not mine.
Okay.
And then LD from McMinnville says, when discussing Levis, Jared had brought up McNair Marino comparisons. If he's a mixture of both, Titans fans should be extremnair happy.
Yeah, I think they'll take that.
So Chuck's saying that Jared said that Will Levis brings nothing to the table, and LD says he said that he's McNair Marino? Are we just talking absolutely are we just talking absolute like insanity on his show? Like, I don't get it. Does he think he's good or not?
Those are two very, very polarizing extremes there, my friend. Very extremes.
You'll find out tonight, Joe.
Yeah.
I get maybe. Yeah, we'll have to clear this up. Someone says Jimmy G. Yeah, I guess I don't know. I don't think Jimmy G really is that punchable.
Jeff from Hendersonville says Russell Wilson. What about that one?
I don't think so. I've never thought that, really.
No, I don't think so. He's just kind of weird sometimes. But again, that's more off the field stuff. The birthday parties and all that.
His anonymous that no one listens to wife, whose music no one listens to, had some birthday party or people got mad.
That is major disrespect to Sierra. She's known by first name only.
But yeah, on the field, I'm sorry, I had to get that in. I'm still mad about the Warriors.
Yes.
On the field, I don't think that really applies. There's got to be someone else we're forgetting about.
Well, Zach from Nashville has supplied a list for us on the text line. It says quarterback punchable face rankings, literally Zach Wilson, Baker Mayfield, Aaron Rodgers, and Jared Goff. Quarterback punchable face rankings because they're good. Josh Allen, Russell Wilson, Kirk Cousins, and then Aaron Rodgers. So Rodgers make most of his list.
Yeah, Cousins isn't punchable. Back off Cousins.
Yeah, he's up on Joe's guy.
Zach Wilson, if he was good, he'd be number one with a bullet. Zach Wilson would be absolutely number one, not even close. And he actually is still very punchable, even though he doesn't play.
Kyler?
Okay.
He could be on there.
If he played good.
Yeah, kind of, I guess. I mean, I think Wentz can kind of, and then of course there's been Wentz-Levis comparison. I think what we're actually coming across here, and I still at some point want you guys to weigh in on my quarterback rankings, which are exactly accurate, but I think what we're coming across here is this league needs more punchability at the quarterback position. I think Will Levis can provide it,
especially now with Brady gone. I mean, he's gone. He was the guy.
I do think Mahomes, and I guess Allen too, like just because they're so good. I mean, Mahomes is. But it's again.
But he doesn't ever say anything.
Yeah, usually he's more just celebrating with his teammates and stuff like that. Yeah, like it's Baker is absolutely the quintessential if he were good still. No, this league needs more.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. We'll continue the discussion on Will Levis and the Titans coming up next. Take more of your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5-106.3, The Game.
The NFL offseason is in full swing, but you'll never miss any of the big news. Thanks to Yahoo's Charles Robinson.
They know that there's a chance that they're going to have to deal this guy.
He's one of the best insiders there is.
All of a sudden, he becomes a functional player who we thought was just trash.
Join Charles Robinson every Thursday morning at 8 on Robby and Rexrode, presented by the NFL Alumni Association on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
What's up, everybody? Michelle Knezovic here for Superbook Sports. Baseball is back, and the push for the postseason is on for hockey and hoops. I hope you took the Lakers plus the 4.5 yesterday, also on the money line, which I told you to. Taking a look at some of the games on Superbook Sports today with the NBA playoffs. We've got the 76ers and the Celtics tonight. The Celtics are a 10-point favorite. Listen, I'm going to take the 76ers plus the 10 points. That's too big of a spread in the postseason. And then tomorrow, Lakers and Warriors again. I think the Warriors take game 2, but I still think it's going to be a close one. I think the Lakers will cover the 5-point spread. So Lakers plus the 5, but I think the Warriors will take game 2. And I think this one's going all the way to 7 games. So make it all count this spring with Superbook Sports. Superbook is the best wagering app around with a direct line to experienced bookmakers behind the counter in Las Vegas. Plus, you can get a $250 bonus when you sign up, deposit, and wager all in the same day. So don't let the spring pass you by without winning some money from Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
You don't have just an ordinary mom in your life. She's the best. Her work never stops. Her sacrifices are many. Her love is unfailing. This Mother's Day, Genesis Diamonds invites you to join us in celebrating and appreciating the mothers in our lives. Stop in and let one of our trusted advisors help you find a special, meaningful gift. Layering necklaces, stackable rings, eternity bands, pearls, elegant diamond pendants, and of course, stunning diamond earrings. Great Mother's Day ideas for any budget. There's no doubt we love Mom, but sometimes a little extra appreciation goes a long way as a thank you for helping us through challenges, making sacrifices, and always putting the family first. So whether it's her first Mother's Day or her 60th, Mom deserves a gift that's anything but ordinary. And at Genesis, that's our specialty. Exquisite rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, heirloom pieces. Timeless gifts of jewelry that she can enjoy and cherish for decades to come, and always be reminded of how special she is to the family. Genesis Diamonds, online at genesisdiamonds.net.
Willie Donick here for Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. The official brand perception report is in, and the Pella Windows and Doors brand is #1 for the most trusted, most often recommended by others, and highest quality. Nashville area homeowners are very lucky because Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville is one of the top locations in the country. They provide award-winning excellence when it comes to craftsmanship and installation. If you need new doors or windows, I suggest you choose the experts at Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. Go to PellaofNashville.com.
Along with being Middle Tennessee's Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer, Parman Tractor is your one-stop shop for professionals in the tree care and tree removal business. More bark brush chippers and Rayco stump grinders are industry-leading machines made for more to keep pace with you. And Parman's parts and service team will keep your machines running. Durability, efficiency, and trust. That's what you'll get with more bark and Rayco. And with Parman. Swing by Parman or visit ParmanTractor.com to learn more about more bark and Rayco. Parman Tractor's employee-owned team promises totally outrageous customer service.
Shine Down. The Revolution's live tour continues. October 3rd, First Bank Amphitheater, Franklin, Tennessee. With very special guests, Papa Roach and Spirit Box. On sale this Friday, 10 a.m. Buy tickets at LiveNation.com. Don't miss Shinedown Live, part of the Farm Bureau Insurance Concert Series.
94.9 The Fan is your home for Hit City.
Tonight, your Nashville Sounds continue their road trip at St. Paul. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Sounds win. Pre-game at 6:20.
On your home of Nashville Sounds baseball, 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Hey, it's ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck on Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Now, this is from the Elway to Marino documentary on 30 for 30. This is Marvin Demoff, the agent for both Elway and Marino, talking about the fact that Dan Marino's senior season wasn't as good as his junior season, which led him to fall in the draft. Where Will Levis was coming into it, he was part of the discussion with C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young, and all of a sudden, when push came to shove, we don't make a big deal about the fact that Alabama didn't get to the playoff and didn't win a national championship with Bryce Young as their quarterback, which is what every Alabama quarterback seems to have been able to do.
That was Jared Stillman yesterday on Stillman & Company. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Call TJ's team today to see why they're referred to so often. We are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by Superbook, live from our 102.5 The Game studio. Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Taking your thoughts on our text line. Joe, a lot of votes for Joe Burrow as punchable face on the text line.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I'm sure if you're a Browns fan, or a Steelers fan or something, you'd believe that. And the thing is, he should be, because he looks like freaking Macaulay Culkin from Home Alone, right?
He does.
But I don't know. I feel like he pretty much just goes about his business on the field. One that was brought up, Phillip Rivers, we did talk about that earlier. One that was brought up who was absolutely elite. And locally, people know him well. Jay Cutler was elite. I'm sure as a Packers fan, you totally agree with that.
Well, he didn't have a whole lot of success against them, but yes, I agree.
Right. Just imagine if he did.
I know.
Elite punchability right there. So according to a texter, which I've lost, because apparently punchability has also really sparked the folks today.
It has.
So apparently Jared was arguing against this stupid thing with like his mom and wife and sister. So Rich Gannon said he should have brought just one of them. I don't know. It's his mom, it's sister, and then girlfriend. What are we talking about here? What's wrong with people?
This is a conversation that I have not been privy to. I didn't know this was a thing out there.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, if we're going to start talking about, stuff like that, can I just bring up that Jessica Alba last night was at the Knicks game? And, yeah.
Well, there you go. A lot of people at the Knicks game last
She's
night.
trending today. She's trending today on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Apparently, she's still 25. Okay.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. So, I look at the Will Levis situation. We talked about kind of the demeanor attached with it, and I said it yesterday. I kind of like that. Like, I like the quarterback to have a little bit of an edge to him. And look, I'm not saying that he's Tom Brady or that he's Aaron Rodgers, but I mean, those guys They have a little bit of an edge to them. And look, every quarterback to a certain degree kind of has a different style. Like Peyton Manning didn't spend a whole lot of time out there, talking to the other team. So it's not like a necessary requirement that you got to have. But I like the quarterback having a little edge to it. I mean, I watched Levis play. And like I said, I mean, it doesn't take a football genius to watch him play and realize he's got a heck of an arm. He's got a lot of physical traits that he brings to the table. And really, I mean, the athleticism you brought up, I think, is kind of an underrated part of him just because, like you said, he was going through injuries last year, and he couldn't really put that on display as much as he did the year before that. So, at the end of the day, is that the most important thing with a quarterback? No. Like, you need to be able to stand in the pocket, make the proper read, make the right throws, not turn the football over. That's the biggest concern with Will Levis to me. But how many times have we seen a Mahomes or even a Burrow? Like a Burrow, I mean, Burrow, nobody talks about like, oh, Joe Burrow's super athletic back there. But we've seen him scamper out of there on occasion and make some big plays in big games and big moments with his feet. Like the modern quarterback position, I think you have to be able to do that a little bit. I'm not saying that you got to be, Michael Vick back there, but you got to be able to move around a little bit, and Will Levis certainly brings that to the table.
Well, how many quarterbacks anymore? It's funny because Marino gets brought up, right? Marino was the absolute definition of statue in the pocket. The ball's out super fast.
Yep.
He never got sacked in some of those years between good protection and just the fact that he got the ball out, but zero, creation with his legs at all. It was nothing. And there used to be a lot more quarterbacks like that in the NFL who were successful. I mean, you look around the league now, look at this draft. I mean, Stroud, the biggest knock on Stroud, my biggest knock is he's never going to have receivers like he did at Ohio State on an NFL team. It's hard to evaluate that. But the biggest knock is that he doesn't run enough. He did in the Georgia game. It made a huge difference. But that's a big knock. I mean, all these other young, not a burner, but great ability to escape and extend plays.
Yep.
Obviously, Richardson and Levis both. That's a big part of why they are, they were regarded the way they were, although they end up going to very different spots. But that was the conversation. It's so hard anymore. And then in recent years, look at all the quarterbacks. I mean, just about all of them. I think Burrow is probably the biggest example of more of a pocket guy, but Herbert, Allen, Mahomes, Hurts. It's you pretty much. You're going to see in this league. Sure. I mean, if he were good, but
he could throw for 150 yards. Yes.
I hate you guys so much.
No, I mean, he is like, we'll see what he becomes, but yeah, exactly. That's a huge part. And that's why he's still a starting quarterback now. Granted, bad supporting cast, but the reason that he's still effective enough to win some games and give you some hope is that he's an outrageous runner, right? So, like the Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff. I mean, there's two examples of guys who are successful in this league who don't have that. Yep. But you don't find too many anymore.
Well, that's the thing. Like quarterbacks coming into the league now, there's being able to move is a big part of their game. I mean, and again, it's never going to be the most important thing. Like you've always got to be able to stand in the pocket, hang in there, and make throws. But even Kenny Pickett last year, like he went in the first round. Like he can move. Like he's not a statue back there. I mean, heck, he's perfected the fake slide, for goodness sake. We know that Kenny Pickett can move around a little bit. So that's just the way that the modern quarterback position is played. Like Mahomes, nobody's going to confuse Patrick Mahomes as like a burner out there. But how many times have we seen Mahomes, specifically with the Titans, just burn the Titans with the way that he can move?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you have an almost perfect defensive game against him and that offense, and then what does it come down to? It comes down to that. You have them. I don't know that you have them beat. I mean, that's saying a little bit much, but I'd love to see how the AFC Championship game plays out if not for that ridiculous play where the Titans decided not to tackle him.
Yeah.
But it was also him, doing crazy things. He doesn't run a ton, but he has that ability. And that's the thing with Levis is that, and I think that people who, if they really started tuning in on him this year, miss because you had the toe, You had the shoulder, and you had what was the third injury? I can't even keep track of all his injury. He had a third injury too. That was lower body, to use a hockey explanation. So I mean, he basically that was taken out of his game. Go watch 2021 film. It was a big part of his game. That's what he was at Penn State. He's a running back, running back playing quarterback. So that's one of the reasons that I think he has a chance. Absolutely. I mean, I think that's got to be a big part of his game in the NFL.
Well, the other part that kind of ties into that I really like about him is the size. 6'4", 230. That's what he's listed at. I mean, that's really good size as a quarterback. I mean, unlike the people who think that your guy Bryce Young is just going to get blown over out there by the wind, they don't have those concerns about Will Levis. So that automatically means that Will Levis is better, right?
Pretty much, yes. Now that he's here, as I recall, I think he was my number one choice.
The Homer.
Yes.
Here on WHMO.
Yes, he's just automatically better. But in all seriousness, like I do like the size that he brings to the table. Now, does that automatically mean that you're durable? No. Does that automatically mean that you can just run over people at the NFL level? No. And we've seen that's the one thing too. Like at this position in the NFL, like we saw Will Levis in college. The one thing that we've talked about with Tannehill a lot too is you got to know when to get down and when to avoid those contacts. And Will Levis was not really looking to get down at college. He was kind of barreling his head through and running over people at the goal line. And look, you like that. It fires you up as a quarterback, but also like this is the NFL and he's going to have to learn how to slide.
That's why the Titans fan base they'll end up loving him if he plays decently because he's going to do stuff like that, right? Now but like you said, you got to be smart about it. But that's absolutely who he is. Competitive toughness, again, that's the term Dane Brugler used. He loves that stuff. He likes to take a linebacker on. He might be able to play linebacker. Those are all things that a team rallies around, fan base rallies around. So those are good. Again, if he plays well, except yes, in this league, it will get you hurt. And Tannehill at times is, even Mariota at times. You mentioned the Barry Church play.
Yep.
I mean, that's basically where he showed his intensity was sometimes on plays like that running the football.
615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. So there is one quarterback in particular that we've heard compared to Will Levis a lot, both in the pre-draft kind of part of this and also since the Titans have taken him as well. But there may be another quarterback that is relevant as well in that discussion that people have brought up lately too. We'll get into all that as well. Take more of your thoughts on Will Levis and the Titans, 615-737-1025. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5-106.3, The Game.
The crowd is standing on its feet. It's in the hole! It's in the hole!
Join 102.5 The Game for the second annual Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament, benefiting Souls for Souls, June 7th at Hermitage Golf Course. Put your team together and come play with athletes, musicians, and other local celebs.
Be the ball.
Support a great cause and have loads of fun. Plus, you'll have the chance to win awesome prizes. Sign up to play, sponsor, or donate at thegamenashville.com/golf.
Robby Stanley here, and the NBA playoffs are here, and you can turn crossovers into cash with FanDuel. Just visit FanDuel.com/Rob right now and place a $5 bet, and you'll get an instant $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The Knicks even up the series last night with the Heat. I still feel good about the Heat going back home. Hopefully Jimmy Butler can get back in there and play, so I'll take the Heat in that series. But you can take it any way you want to take it. Just make sure you do it on FanDuel Sportsbook. They've got great promotions every single day, and when you win, you get paid instantly. There's no better place to bet all the playoff action than America's #1 sportsbook. Just go to FanDuel.com/Rob and sign up to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet your first $5. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Breaking Benjamin. Live in concert in Franklin. With special guests, Bush. And Another Day Dawns. Tonight at First Bank Amphitheater. Get tickets now at LiveNation.com. more. Visit BreakingBenjamin.com. Get tickets now.
How's Wingstop sound? Crispy, juicy classic wings, sauced and tossed in those 11 soul-satisfying flavors. Paired with hand-cut seasoned fries, house-made honey mustard, blue cheese, or signature Wingstop ranch. I think you've heard enough. Get your flavor delivered at wingstop.com.
Do you have a VA loan? In this housing market, homeowners with VA loans have access to a ton of instant cash. Hey, Willie Donick here. Do you need cash to pay off credit cards and other high-interest loans? How does a check for 80 or 90 grand sound right now? Loan Pronto is helping veterans every day get the money they need with a quick and easy zero-cost cash-out refi with zero closing costs. With a VA loan, it's really cool because you can access up to 100% of your home's value. That's 100%. Use that money to pay off credit cards, home equity lines, car loan. Consolidate all your payments into one check per month and close in 2 weeks. Most homeowners who do this end up cutting their overall monthly payments by $800. And Loan Pronto's all-digital process makes it fast and easy. They're doing loans with super low APRs, and they love working with veterans. Call now. See what your options are. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Hey, it's Jared from my friends at Hiller. Hiller's Heat Wave Heroes are keeping you from getting burned this summer. If you know your home needs an air conditioning replacement, do not wait until it breaks down. You do not want to be sweating in your home. This month, get a free UV light and free electronic air cleaner when you buy select new HVAC systems. Or get a whole home water filtration for just $59 a month. Or get a new whole home generator for just $139 a month. Call Hiller's Heat Wave Heroes to save the day. Visit happyhiller.com to book.
Drowning in IRS debt? If you can't afford to pay your IRS debt due to economic hardship, you can now be free of IRS collection efforts by taking advantage of a special IRS tax hardship program. This program allows Americans who owe the IRS to resolve their delinquent tax debt once and for all. In some cases, maybe even reducing what you owe significantly. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Simply dial 800-283-5948. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back or have years of unfiled tax returns, help is standing by. Just call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-283-5948 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-283-5948 to see if you qualify. That's 800-283-5948.
The sports talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic and Junie Riddle for Michelle and Junie.
As long as he wants to coach there, he will be able to coach there.
I think that really did save the hope of this team.
Michelle and Junie, presented by Superbook Sports, every Saturday morning at 9 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Join 102.5 The Game for the second annual Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament presented by Gary Force Acura, benefiting Souls for Souls, coming up on June the 7th at Hermitage Golf Course. You can put your team together and come play with athletes, musicians, and other local celebs to support a great cause and have loads of fun. Plus, you'll have the chance to win awesome prizes as well. You can sign up to play, sponsor, or donate at thegamenashville.com/golf. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Wednesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Taking your thoughts on Will Levis, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. And, Joe, we talked a lot about Will Levis in the pre-draft process, and a comp that kept coming up really nationwide as Will Levis was being discussed was Josh Allen. Like, he's got the size, he's got the physical tools. The numbers in college were inconsistent, turnovers, accuracy, and the like. Now, I would say that Will Levis is probably a little bit more accurate than Josh Allen was coming out of college there. But Josh Allen, a pretty universal comparison as to what he could be. And obviously, one of the things that we've talked about with Josh Allen is just the stark difference in how he began his career and what he looked like and now what he's grown into. I mean, we remember watching Josh Allen play really for the first couple of years in Buffalo and said, I don't know. Like, the accuracy just isn't there. Looks like he's kind of arm punting the ball out there. And then all of a sudden he became one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And now the question is that just kind of an outlier, or is that going to start to become more of a thing in the NFL? And there's an interesting article on The Ringer kind of highlighting that with Anthony Richardson and Will Levis. It also brings up another quarterback in this discussion, which we'll get to here in just a few minutes. But the Josh Allen comparison to Will Levis, what do you think of that comparison as it relates to kind of the task that is now in front of the Titans as to rounding his game into form to be ready for the NFL level?
Yeah, well, I think that physically they have similar, talents. Now, Josh Allen is maybe the most, as far as good quarterbacks in the NFL, I don't know that I can recall a more short yardage power like runner than him. Yep. You know what I mean? He's a load, but I think there are definitely some parallels. And I will say that right now, Will Levis, as with everybody who comes into the league, even though we're talking here on WHMR, the likelihood is that he won't be what people hope he is, because most quarterbacks aren't. But I feel better about Will Levis right now than I did about Josh Allen. I feel better about Will Levis right now than I felt about Josh Allen 2 years into his NFL career. So he's the ultimate example. But this piece is really interesting by Stephen Ruiz, because I kind of hadn't thought about it in these terms, but he's right. If you think about it, yeah, Levis and Richardson are the latest in this. It's kind of a trend. Allen, to me, is still absolutely the example. But, I mean, as he points out, if you really look at the last 10 years, like quarterbacks where people were like, yeah, like there's nothing to nitpick. I mean, not that there wasn't some nitpicking, but there wasn't much. And they both went number one. Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence.
Yep.
Okay. So look at the list that he has. So this is what he said. I'll just quote this paragraph. Quote, those other guys got to their respective teams as heavily scrutinized prospects with flaws like reckless decision-making, Mahomes, inaccuracy, Allen, or processing issues, Justin Herbert. They were widely seen as projects, guys that needed fixing. And yet those five and the other two he mentioned were Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts will combine to make about $1 bajillion over the next decade, and deservedly so. And Herbert is the one, just for me, and maybe this is just a me issue, certainly could be. I totally forgot about that, but he was so polarizing. Like, I think because he came in right away and was like, oh, yep, he's a dude. He is good. That you kind of forget that. But Herbert, people were all over the map on Justin Herbert. There were people who were like, he should not go this high in the draft. Like, he's a mess. And then there are other people like, the talent is just, it's way too good. You're wrong. And those people obviously end up being right. Again, I'm not saying Will Levis is Justin Herbert here on WHMR. But there's actually, I think there's also some parallels with skill set, accuracy. It's interesting that this is, Ruiz writes this with processing issues, the processing thing, and it is encouraging to me. The Titans do have the information, and I think it means something. Levis scored a 93 on the S2.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's got to mean something. The accuracy part is interesting because, like I said, I think Levis's numbers would suggest that the accuracy is way less of a big deal with him than it was with like a Josh Allen coming out. 2021, he completed 66% of his passes. He completed 65% of his passes last year. Now, having said that, I think you and I would both agree that you watch him play, and specifically when it comes to some of the turnovers, it's like he's holding on maybe a little bit too long, and he lets it go maybe a little bit too late, and all of a sudden you're turning the ball over that way. So that part of it's interesting because the numbers would tell you that accuracy is really not a problem. 66%, 65%, pretty good completion percentages. But there are plays that he makes and plays that he doesn't make sometimes too, where you watch it and you're like, yeah, I don't know. It's a little bit late coming from Levis, and obviously, that's in the SEC. This is now the NFL, where it's going to be even faster. How quickly can you adjust to that if you're Will Levis?
Yeah, and I thought that was a huge thing in Knoxville. It was just, and they were all over him. But it was like, man, he had someone and he let it go late. Now there's a pick. I mean, he was a mess. They were a mess. The thing is, and Vrabel talked about this on draft night, yes, you're going from SEC to NFL, but obviously your hope is you don't support him relative to the competition, anything near what Kentucky did or didn't do last year.
Right.
And like Barry Brown is going to be a very good player for Kentucky, but when you're relying as heavily as they did on 2 freshman receivers to go with the offensive line issues, I mean, you can see how it was just terrible timing for Kentucky to have him, but then to have such issues around him and not really be able to take advantage of what he can do.
Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Lee in Nashville. Lee, good morning. Thanks for calling in.
Hey, good morning, guys. I think the one thing, and I'll preface this saying, I love his definitely wouldn't have been my pick, but now that he is a Titan, I think the thing that nobody really is talking about is if they do hit on him being a second-round pick, I mean, that does allow you to build a better team around him because his contract is going to be a little more friendly to the team for the first, 3-4 years. Just like it makes me think of Jalen Hurts, right? Philadelphia has been able to build so many good players around Jalen Hurts because his contract, until this year, recently when they gave an extension, but before that, I think that's one thing that if the Titans, if they did hit on Levis, it could potentially be a game changer for them from a financial perspective of being able to add some really quality players, free agents or whoever, to build up the team quicker than maybe that most of us think they can. So that's one thing I've been thinking about since everything's happened with the draft.
Yep, thanks for the call, Lee. We appreciate it. So, I mean, that is an interesting point that he brings up. I mean, he's a second-round player, so the money obviously is not the same as him going 11 overall or the Titans moving up to number 6 or whatever it would be to go get him. Now, the other side of that coin, Joe, is let's say he is really good and that he is every bit the player that they want him to be. Well, you also now don't have the 5th-year option, and you got to get to that next contract a year sooner than you would with the 5th-year option in place.
Right. But, yeah,
but you take that out of your things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, if you go through the numbers, I don't have them in front of me. We'll get to that. That's a good point. Because if you want to go through like what Richardson will make in his 4 years, I know we always think rookie deals are so cheap, but like there's still a big difference in how much the Colts are going to pay Richardson and how much the Titans are going to pay Levis in the next few years.
Yeah, no question. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. We'll continue the discussion on Will Levis coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
All the big plays.
Ball right to score. Yoshi sets up Matt Duchesne.
All the big stories.
For the Predators, are you holding on to what you got or are you selling some guys off?
All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Green flag is in the air.
It may not happen that way every game.
His shot stopped.
Gotta play better, gotta coach better.
TD Tigers.
The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Attention all fire and safety line experts. Middle Tennessee's fastest growing fire protection company is looking for experienced service technicians, designers, and sprinkler system experts like you. Tired of working for a large corporate employer? Work for a company where you're more than just a number. Jarrett Fire Protection is owned and operated by Nashville natives and wants to invite you to grow with their amazing team.
Hi, I'm Jason Jarrett, owner of Jarrett Companies. I'm looking to hire experienced sprinkler experts and will offer a sign-on bonus of up to $5,000 for certified professionals. In addition to our great benefits that include a 401k match, PTO, and top pay with annual bonuses, we will also provide you with the top-of-the-line tools, trucks, and equipment that you need to grow your career. Our customer base is large and business is booming with many opportunities for advancement. Give us a call or go online to jarrettfire.com and apply today to become a member of our family and protect our community. That's JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, where we are above and beyond industry standards.
You don't have just an ordinary mom in your life. She's the best. Her work never stops. Her sacrifices are many. Her love is unfailing. This Mother's Day, Genesis Diamonds invites you to join us in celebrating and appreciating the mothers in our lives. Stop in and let one of our trusted advisors help you find a special, meaningful gift. Layering necklaces, stackable rings, eternity bands, pearls, elegant diamond pendants, and of course, stunning diamond earrings. Great Mother's Day ideas for any budget. There's no doubt we love Mom, but sometimes a little extra appreciation goes a long way as a thank you for helping us through challenges, making sacrifices, and always putting the family first. So whether it's her first Mother's Day or her 60th, Mom deserves a gift that's anything but ordinary. And at Genesis, that's our specialty. Exquisite rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, heirloom pieces. Timeless gifts of jewelry that she can enjoy and cherish for decades to come, and always be reminded of how special she is to the family. Genesis Diamonds, online at genesisdiamonds.net.
The greatest American rock and roll band in history, Aerosmith, present Peace Out, the Farewell Tour. Aerosmith, with special guest the Black Crowes. Bridgestone Arena, January 10th, 2024. Get tickets this Friday at 10 a.m. at livenation.com. Aerosmith with the Black Crowes, the Farewell Tour. Peace out.
Will they find a home? Sponsored by Geico. Susan has always wanted to live in a chateau. I like a certain je ne sais quoi. While Jake is more into the Cape Cod style home.
It's a classic look.
Compromise is tough, but these two won't have to compromise when they bundle home and car insurance with Geico. It's easy, and they could save even more. In the end, Susan and Jake found a Cape Cod style home where they will only speak French.
Bonjour, je t'aime, merci beaucoup, and cordon bleu.
You'll get better with time. Bundling without compromise at geico.com.
Your Game Center update.
I'm Michelle Knezvik. The Lakers took Game 1, 117-112. Anthony Davis on the leaderboard for the Lakers with 30 points. Steph Curry led the Warriors with 27 points. The New York Knicks evened out the series with the Miami Heat, topping them 111-105 last night. Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle helped guide the team to a win before they take this series to South Beach. Mike Vrabel joined Chase and Michelle on Tuesday and discussed the evaluation process with Will Levis.
Tim and I had him put together, a presentation of a defense that, from a game that we wanted from the last couple years. Talk us through the game plan, talk us through the different concepts, what he liked against certain coverages, most of the stuff that we would do with quarterbacks. But then I'd ask them to, put together things where he put the ball in harm's way. Taking care of the football is critical. And
Memphis Grizzlies announced on Tuesday that they will not be bringing Dylan Brooks back under any circumstances. This report is presented by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. I'm Michelle Knezvik for 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
A gunny performance. Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode. Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. On Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen,
it's showtime.
Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezvik here with you on this Wednesday morning. We'll have Adam Bingen coming up at 7:30. Get into some Preds/Stanley Cup playoff talk with him. Looking forward to that. Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com at 8 o'clock. And the choice is yours at 8:30. So lots still to come on the program here today. Taking your thoughts, 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. So, Joe, some comments by Rich Gannon were brought to our attention earlier on the show, and Michelle has found the clip of these comments that were discussed earlier. Here's what Rich Gannon had to say when discussing Will Levis.
I think a little bit more humility would have helped him. He's got an amazing family, obviously a beautiful mom and sister and girlfriend. They were all with him in the draft room. My advice, maybe just one of the three and not all three. I mean, he came off looking a little bit like, this this Don Juan, like, Joe Namath. I got, these three lovely ladies on my side. And again, I'm not trying to suggest that it's not okay to have your mom or your girlfriend, your sister. This is a big moment for these players.
That was
wild.
Rich Gannon talking about
what?
Will Levis in the draft room with his mother, his sister, and his girlfriend. It's a very strange leap that he's taken.
I don't even know how to respond to that. Have some more humility. Bringing your mom, your hot mom, and hot. Like, how old's his sister? Rich Gannon, you freaking weirdo.
That's really weird. Like, what does? I'm trying to figure out what does that have to do with humility? Bringing your mother, your sister, and your girlfriend to the draft room with you.
Yeah, I mean, they were like dressed in nice clothes, but isn't that what people do at the draft?
He was in a suit.
Like, he's sitting with his family, and then the leap to go, it's three girls on his arm. No, it's his mom, his sister, and his girl. Like, that is just bizarre.
It's really weird.
Yeah. He happens to have a sibling who's a sister, so she came to the draft. And Rich Gannon thinks she looks nice.
I don't even know what the thought process is there from Rich Gannon. The Broadway Joe comparison. Interesting.
Wow. Okay. Well, it actually was said. I didn't believe it, and there it is.
There it is. Jeez. Oh, man. I mean, we can keep going on Rich Gannon stuff. He also said that he would take Kenny Pickett over all the quarterbacks in this draft, too. So, Rich Gannon with a lot of takes, yeah. Said that,
I did not know
a month ago.
I did not know Rich Gannon was such a hot taker. Huh. But hot takes, there's hot takes and then there's like weird takes. Yeah. This is a weird take. Yeah. Now look, I do think that like with Levis with the TikToks, Levis, hot shot, was like a good looking guy. I think that works against him with some people, right?
Agreed.
I mean, I think some people definitely just automatically dislike him. But yeah, man, that one's way too much of a leap.
Yeah, that was quite the leap. 615-737-1025. LD from McMinnville on the text line says, it looks like Levis is really good at the deep ball, but on short to intermediate routes, his confidence in his strong arm forces throws and gets himself in trouble. This from LD from McMinnville on the text line. Terrell in Spring Hill says, Will Levis had to be the one to make a play, so he held onto the ball too long or tried to force something not quite there to make a play. He'll hopefully learn to throw it away or run out of bounds or slide. Field position in the NFL is different from college. This from Terrell in Spring Hill.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of stuff you can find last year where it's like it just doesn't look good, Like I totally get it. I mean, what Levis is, the extreme example of this is like Malik Willis last year. Like the highlight and low light tapes of Malik Willis are whoa. Both were whoa, But Will Levis, all of us for the most part, those of us who watch college football saw a lot more of it in real time. And look, I thought going into last year that he was going to be a contender for QB1. I mean, I didn't think that he'd surpass Bryce Young or possibly CJ Stroud, but like that he was a contender for that, And I mean, I remember Kyle Tucker saying earlier in the season, like the problem with this team is that their offensive line, they have zero offensive line. Like it's going to be a problem. And then he gets hurt. Thank you, Chuck, for bringing up that. I just wish his mother would have pushed the girlfriend away like Isaiah Wilson's mom did.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Well, I never saw that one. I need to look that up.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
His girlfriend got on his lap, right? And then his mom shoved her
go
off
away.
him.
Stop.
That was that was something else, man. Oh yeah, Nate says he sounds like Brett Musburger when he grunted when talking about AJ McCarron's QB girlfriend. That was beyond creepy, man.
Ugh.
We get it, Brent. We get it.
It'll be okay. Pays to play quarterback at Alabama. Yes, it does, Brent. There you go. Man, I forgot. There's a lot of good ones. I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Got a texter that says, Levis social media reminds me of Juju dancing on the logos. It doesn't help your career, and you lose respect of people. This from texter on the text line talking about the Levis social media stuff.
Is that an active thing? Is that like ongoing, or was it just basically the?
I think it's died down a little bit.
Mayo?
Yeah, I think it's died down a little bit.
Because those things, if I recall correctly, they basically were like going into last season, right?
Yeah.
Were they like over the summer? Yeah. I mean, again, if he's still like constantly doing that stuff, I would advise him, yeah, go ahead and you're a professional quarterback now. You don't need all that stuff. I mean, whatever. He's just having fun. You can tell his interview with us being media at Titans headquarters on Friday. First of all, I'm sure he got asked 20,000 times at the combine alone, and then beyond that, all through the season, he's so sick of all that. And
the mayo and coffee, it's not a big talking point for Will Levis anymore.
Right. And it's fun. I mean, and frankly, it's not that bad. But if that's all it is, then it doesn't really mean much. You had fun. Like most people who do TikTok probably have some goofy TikToks, don't they?
Yeah, I would say so.
Now, I would advise you to not do TikTok, but this is what the kids do these days.
Oh, I bit the bullet. I'm on it now, man.
Really?
Yeah, man. I'm in there.
Also, I'm looking too.
You and Vrabel.
Yeah, me and Vrabel on
a
TikTok.
broccoli stir fry.
Yeah.
A lot of players
together.
have like NIL deals, and that's a part of it. Like they have to make videos, TikTok videos for the brands.
Yeah.
So we're going to be seeing a lot more of it.
Yeah, well, and I mean, like the number one, I guess at least I know On3 does these valuations, which, I don't know how much they are tied to reality, but like number one is like that LSU gymnast, right? Who apparently isn't very accomplished as a gymnast, right? I mean, some of this is straight up attractiveness.
Right.
Let's be real here.
LD from McMinnville on the text line says, we're at a crossroads. Potential Will Levis nicknames, Billy Jeans or Don Juan. Which one are we going with? This is from LD from McMinnville.
Yeah, seriously, the fact that you said he's like Don Juan when two of the three women are his mom and his sister is so weird.
The Rich Gannon comments, like you said, hearing about them is one thing, actually hearing them is another. I'm like, really? We're going to some serious leaps there, man. Interesting.
Like when Sergei Fedorov went to the first Red Wings Stanley Cup parade, it's like the first time people saw Anna Kournikova, but also there were like three other attractive young women in the car with him who I don't think were his sisters. So there was like, what's going on with Sergei Fedorov? Like, okay, that's
his mom.
What's going on with Sergei Fedorov?
Like, Sergei, hey. But that's different. Yeah, exactly. That's like if he had a girlfriend and then like her friend or something, then it'd be okay. Well, that's interesting. But yeah, it's his mom and sister. What the heck?
I did not expect to talk about that today. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. We'll continue to take your thoughts on the Titans, on Will Levis. Coming up next is no news, good news for a certain coach here in the Nashville area. We'll get into that as well. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
94.9 The Fan is your home for Hit City.
Tonight, your Nashville Sounds continue their road trip at St. Paul. Swing and a miss, strike three. Sounds win. Pregame at 6:20.
On your home of Nashville Sounds Baseball, 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Hey, it's Jared from my friends at Hiller. Hiller's Heat Wave Heroes are keeping you from getting burned this summer. If you know your home needs an air conditioning replacement, do not wait until it breaks down. You do not want to be sweating in your home. This month, get a free UV light and free electronic air cleaner when you buy select new HVAC systems. Or get a whole home water filtration for just $59 a month. Or get a new whole home generator for just $139 a month. Call Hiller's Heat Wave Heroes to save the day. Visit happyhiller.com to book.
Real estate investors, listen up. D&M Development announces the pre-sale of Nashville's only non-owner occupied short-term rental resort community. The New Cumberland is perfectly located between Germantown and East Nashville, with amazing views of the city and the Cumberland River. The New Cumberland is a resort-style community featuring community pools, spacious kitchens, 4 bedrooms, and 4 baths. D&M Development is releasing 16 units in their Phase 1. Available now. Go to thenewcumberland.com for information. That's thenewcumberland.com.
The Beach Boys. Live in concert. May 25th, 26th, and 27th at Schermerhorn Symphony Center. Performing with the Nashville Symphony. The Beach Boys return to the stage. Tickets on sale now at NashvilleSymphony.org. Don't miss the Beach Boys live with the Nashville Symphony.
Men, this is Evan Bass with the Tennessee Men's Clinic, and I've been helping men with sexual health issues for many years. I've seen the pain and anxiety that men walk into the clinic with when erectile dysfunction is affecting them. And I also know the heartache and difficulty it can bring to their partner. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we've been successfully treating men for ED for many years now. We've seen the amazing impacts that those treatments have on a man's confidence and positivity. And we've seen the wonderful things those treatments also do for a man's relationship. That's why I'm pleased to announce that we are now offering the same great services we offer at our Nashville clinic at our new location in Franklin, which will make it much more convenient for those men living south of Nashville to get treated. So call us today and book your appointment at our Midtown location or at our new clinic in Cool Springs. Your first visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. Call 615-208-9090. That's 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com.
Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatments extra results vary.
Golfers, swing into Edwin Watts Golf Shops. We've been serving golfers since 1968. Let us help you find the hottest gear from bags, balls, shoes, and apparel. All in stock at the best prices. Come in and test drive the latest arrivals from Titleist, TaylorMade, Callaway, Ping, and more. While you're there, get custom fit by one of our golf experts. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee. Shop us in store or online at edwinwattsgolfshops.com.
We try to stay cool by being on social media.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Follow us on Twitter at 1025thegame and on Instagram at 1025thegame Nashville.
Hey!
Oh yeah, and like us on Facebook too.
Good morning.
You're locked into Robby and Rexrode, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty.
I had the radio on. I'm listening to
1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Tune in for Nashville Sounds Baseball tomorrow night at 6:35 on 94.9 The Fan. Sounds taking on the St. Paul Saints, the AAA affiliate of the Minnesota Twins. Sounds Baseball on 94.9 The Fan, presented by 312 Pizza, Farm Bureau Health Plans, and Family Leisure. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty, where their advanced Pay by TJ option can save you thousands when selling your home. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you, taking your thoughts on Will Levis and the Titans. Luke on YouTube says, I feel like the best thing for Levis would be to just take notes from Vrabel on how to conduct himself and become the most boring person of all time in press conferences and on social media. That's from Luke on YouTube.
But then Levis will be on the practice field and realize that he's like a dirtier George Carlin who's hilarious there. So you'll have that contrast.
Maybe a good trade-off. Who knows? Just take
Will, find a happy medium.
Will, come in. We're going to teach you. We're going to take some notes over here, buddy. Here's a guy you're going to conduct yourself in the press conferences and on social media. Could be good. Who knows?
I tell you.
615-737-1025. We'll get back into Will Levis and the Titans coming up a little bit later in the show. We'll have Paul Koharski from paulkoharski.com joining us at 8 o'clock. So looking forward to that. So, Joe, it has been a couple of weeks, over a little bit, like 2 weeks and 2 days now, I think, since the Predators had their end-of-season press conference with Barry Trotz and John Hines and David Poile. And there has been no news to this point on John Hines and what that means for his coaching future. We talked about the comments that Barry Trotz had at the press conference of, he's still being evaluated and that this is an evaluation process that they're going to go through every year. And, he went into how he was evaluated at the end of every season by David Poile and all that jazz. And time has gone since then. We're on May the 3rd now. I think that was on April the 17th or April the 18th. I have to go back and look at the calendar and figure out which one it was. But no news at this point on the John Hines part of this moving forward. So my question to you is no news good news on the John Hines front for John Hines and his staff as they move forward here? We haven't heard anything, and obviously that means that Barry Trotz has not come away to this point from the evaluation saying, yep, time to move on and go find a new head coach. So what do you make of the lack of movement so far on the John Hines front and what that could mean for him moving forward?
Well, it's certainly – I think as soon as there wasn't an immediate move, I figured then we'd probably be waiting until the end of the playoffs just in case, or I guess until a team that possibly had a coach available, was done playing. I guess that's the next frontier, right? I mean, at this point, I'm guessing Hines is back, but the Toronto assistant that Vingan has mentioned, and of course we'll have Vingan next, is still coaching, losing to the Florida Panthers, by the way.
They are.
But do you, if that was the plan, purely hypothetical, there's definitely been talk about him in other head coaching jobs. But if that were the plan, I suppose you would wait until he was available to go boom, boom with those moves, I guess.
I would assume. I mean,
yeah,
that would be my assumption. Now, there was, Pred's Twitter went nuts yesterday because there's apparently like a joint press conference being held in Milwaukee today at 3 o'clock. And it's got David Poyle, Barry Trotz, Sean Henry, Scott Nickel, and John Greenberg, who's the president of the Admirals, all a part of it. And people are like, are they announcing that Carl Taylor is going to be the head coach of the Nashville Predators? I'm like, well, let's think about this, folks. The Admirals play a playoff game tonight. By the way, the series is tied 1-1, and the Admirals back home tonight taking on Manitoba. So we'll keep you updated on that. But the series is tied 1-1. They're playing a playoff game. And by the way, they're having this press conference in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I don't think that they're announcing that the next Predators head coach is being hired while they're in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, but I could be wrong.
We'd like to apologize to John Hines here from Milwaukee, but Carl, you're the guy.
Carl, let me tell you.
John, by the time we get home to Nashville, please be packed. Thank you.
I did see a lot of that yesterday. As far as what that press conference is, I don't know. Like it could just be like, I don't know, an extension of their affiliation together. It could be a lot of things. But I'm going to doubt very seriously that the press conference taking place today in Milwaukee, Wisconsin is to announce that Carl Taylor is the next head coach of the Nashville Predators hours before they play a playoff game.
Maybe they're going to ponder the question of whether this Bucs season was a failure.
They could. Look,
so many possibilities.
I think that John Hines is going to be back. The one thing I will say, and you brought it up, that's interesting. Like, there's obviously Toronto's still in the playoffs. There are other teams are still in the playoffs. Is there somebody out there that the Predators are waiting on to be done? Is there somebody that Barry Trotz has in mind that he wants to be the coach that's still a part of a staff right now? I mean, those things I would leave the door open for the possibility. The math would tell me, just going percentage-wise, that if John Hines wasn't fired after the season and he's not been fired to this point in the offseason a couple of weeks after Barry Trotz made those comments, logic would tell me that he's probably coming back and he's going to finish out, at least start to finish out the last year of his contract next year. But I guess you do have to leave the door open to the possibility that there could be somebody on a current staff that's in the playoffs that Barry Trotz has interest in.
Yeah. Until it's absolutely – because, look, I mean, Barry Trotz, I thought that press conference where Hines showed up, that would be – I mean, Scorbina asked a question. It's exactly how I was thinking when he asked it, which was, this is probably even silly to ask, but is Hines coming back next year? Then that was not the answer. So, I mean, to me, the door was left open. So it's a possibility. Texter says, when I realized yesterday watching the Devils, Hines was hired January 2020. The Devils picked up Lindy Ruff in July 2020. We could have had Ruff. He wasn't working at the time. Someone missed that shot. I do enjoy Lindy Ruff on the bench.
I do too. Lindy Ruff is very good.
For whatever it's worth.
Now, look, I hear a lot about, look at how good the Devils are now that John Hines is gone. Let's take a look at let's compare the two rosters, man. I mean, their roster,
because he had Jack Hughes skating around.
Their roster is totally different now than it was back then. So I don't buy a whole lot in that stuff. Now, having said that, Lindy Ruff's a very good coach. I mean, there's no question about that.
A very good coach who this year Devils fans were chanting "Fire Lindy, Fire Lindy," and then a month later, they're like, "Sorry, Lindy, sorry, Lindy."
Yeah, they went on like an 11-game winning streak.
Yeah,
that changed that pretty quickly.
He's throwing up double middles.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. Like, to me, let's say for the sake of this discussion that Barry Trotz did have his eye on somebody. Let's say for sake of argument, it's Spencer Carberry in Toronto. Couldn't you still, if that's who you wanted, could you go ahead and make the move with Hines and just get him after, or are you taking the risk at that point of you're moving on from Hines and then Carberry doesn't want to come or somebody else goes and gets him? I mean, there's a lot of different ways you could think about it, but I guess my question is, if you had somebody else in mind, Like, could you go ahead and get rid of John Hines if that's what you wanted to do, or would that be too big of a risk in your mind?
Yeah, it's a great question. And the thing with Carberry is, look, there's a lot of connection with Trotz going back to Washington.
Yep.
He's very accomplished as a lower level coach. And he's a guy, he's one of those assistants that's talked about right now in NHL circles for jobs. So is there an urgency that if you don't get him, you're going to lose, he's going to take someone else's head coach? And for all I know, Barry Trotz is like, I want that guy as my head coach. Yeah. I don't know. But I'm just saying there is an obvious link there, and credit to Vingan for first time I heard it was Vingan talking about it. It makes sense. It adds up, and it could be an urgency situation in terms of not losing him to another team. So I think Hines will be back next year, but that does leave the door cracked a little bit to kind of wonder what's going on and why Trotz didn't just say that.
There is a text on the text line that I've just got to address because I feel like this happens a lot in hockey. Logan on the text line says, please fire John Hines. I don't hate the guy, but the system is so boring. I was on the verge of running my head through a wall before the trade deadline, and then in all capital letters, dump and chase, boys. This from Logan on the text line. And I used to hear some of the same stuff, like when Trotz was the coach.
Barry Trotz.
Because they would dump and chase a lot. First off, there are situations where dumping and chasing for the puck is necessary. Secondly, very rarely is the coach's plan like, hey, let's just go out there and dump and chase every night. Let's see if we can't get the puck in deep and then just go forecheck the heck out of him and go get him. I mean, every coach would like to have Connor McDavid where you never need to dump and chase because he's a one-man zone entry machine. Problem is that's hard to come by.
Yeah, every coach likes being able to go through the neutral zone with speed and come into the O zone and have a chance to make a play right away. Every coach likes that. Yes. Every coach prefers that, or at least likes that as at least part of the time. Yeah, some teams, and I think some of Trotz's early teams here, he was a dump and chase coach. Like, well, who does he have to do that?
Right, exactly. 615. And by the way, wasn't a whole lot of dumping and chasing going on in Washington when he won the Stanley Cup in 2018. I mean, but there was some that still had to happen on occasion. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. Coming up next, we'll be joined by our friend Adam Vingan. We'll get into the Preds with him, also the Stanley Cup playoffs as well, which have been very fascinating to this point. That's coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game has an all-star lineup Monday through Friday. Batting first at 6 a.m., it's Robby and Rexrode.
Yeah, you take that. Take me 80% of that.
Followed by Chase and Michelle at 9.
Couldn't hit the broadside of a barn.
I need my caffeine so much.
Then it's Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace at 11.
Yep, green light, let's go.
You've got a lot of options.
He say, she say. And bringing it home at 2, Jared Stillman for Stillman and Company.
That guy will be a good coach.
We are Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Attention, buckaroos. It's time for the Franklin Rodeo. So saddle up and hold on to your lasso. It's 3 days of bull riding, calf roping, western wear, funny clowns, and some of the most talented horses you've ever seen. Join the Stampede from May 18th to May 20th. The Franklin Rodeo is held at the Williamson County Ag Expo Park and is brought to you by Ram Rodeo, Franklin Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Williamson Health, Event 1 FX, and Wesley Mortgage. Tickets on sale now at franklinrodeo.com. It's a buckin' good time.
You don't have just an ordinary mom in your life. She's the best. Her work never stops. Her sacrifices are many. Her love is unfailing. This Mother's Day, Genesis Diamonds invites you to join us in celebrating and appreciating the mothers in our lives. Stop in and let one of our trusted advisors help you find a special, meaningful gift. Layering necklaces, stackable rings, eternity bands, pearls, elegant diamond pendants, and of course, stunning diamond earrings. Great Mother's Day ideas for any budget. There's no doubt we love Mom, but sometimes a little extra appreciation goes a long way as a thank you for helping us through challenges, making sacrifices, and always putting the family first. So whether it's her first Mother's Day or her 60th, Mom deserves a gift that's anything but ordinary. And at Genesis, that's our specialty. Exquisite rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, heirloom pieces. Timeless gifts of jewelry that she can enjoy and cherish for decades to come, and always be reminded of how special she is to the family. Genesis Diamonds, online at genesisdiamonds.net.
Shine Down. The Revolution's live tour continues. October 3rd, First Bank Amphitheater, Franklin, Tennessee. With very special guests, Papa Roach, and Spirit Box. On sale this Friday, 10 a.m. Buy tickets at livenation.com. Don't miss Shinedown Live, part of the Farm Bureau Insurance Concert Series.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing in me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new plan. Nothing is everyday.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Oh, I cracked the hull of my new ski boat today.
Oh my gosh, why'd you do that?
It's not like I was trying to do it, you know.
Sorry, that's rough, my bad, bro. Did anyone witness this epic fail?
Yes, there's videos galore, and now I'm a meme.
Accidents don't just happen in sea shanties, so Progressive Boat Insurance has you covered. Take as little as 4 minutes to see what you can save at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, covered subject to policy terms and not available for all boats or in all situations.
Robby Stanley has Predators Insiders tonight at 6. Then it's Game 2 between Philadelphia and Boston. Larry Bird against Oh, wait a minute. Joel Embiid against Jason Tatum. Can the Celtics even the series? Find out tonight
on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is Ryan Johansson. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Wednesday morning. And let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. And welcome in our good friend Adam Vingan to the program. Adam, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm here to answer the question that has plagued Nashville sports fans for the better part of a week.
Oh, boy.
Which one is Will Levis's girlfriend, and which one is his sister?
Yes. Thank you. We appreciate that.
I have no idea, by the way.
Thank you.
Rich Gannon doesn't either.
Rich Gannon has no idea either, apparently. So
I heard that cut of Rich Gannon calling Will Levis a Don Juan, which I thought was very odd considering 2 of the 3 women that he was sitting with he's related to.
Yes, very
odd. Creepy, Rich Gannon. Just saying.
Still,
I mean, it's so messed
in
up.
borderline shock that that's what he said, but apparently that's what he said. So, Rich Gannon throwing out the takes, that's for sure. Adam, we were just talking about the Preds and John Hines. What's your best read on the John Hines situation? Barry Trotz at the season-ending press conference talked about evaluating John Hines. We know that Hines has 1 year left on his deal. No move has been made to this point, obviously. What's your take and your read on how John Hines fits into the Predators' plans as they move forward here?
Well, one would think that no news is good news, but then you see what happened in Calgary the other day. The Flames, who also didn't make the playoffs, fired Daryl Sutter a couple of weeks after the season ended. I would not say that these 2 situations are similar at all, just because based on the reporting out of Calgary, Daryl Sutter had very much worn out his welcome in Calgary with players and management and ownership, I even think, based on what I have read. So that is certainly not the case with John Hines. So, to me, I just feel like at this point, I know it's only early May, but I feel like the longer things go without any sort of announcement, the more likely it is that John returns. And I think that makes sense. I think we talked about this before. I think one of the things that benefits John the most is the fact that his new boss is also a coach. Barry understands the ups and downs of the job and how difficult it can be, especially coaching a team that, for the last quarter of the season had basically waved the white flag. So I think the fact that Barry has very similar experiences to John means that he can empathize with him. So, I think, at this point, I would be surprised if a coaching change was made, just because I think when you're trying to, when you're making a significant transition like the Predators are, you probably want a little bit more stability. And it would be one less thing that Barry would have to worry about while he's trying to put his fingerprints on the team.
We've talked about attractiveness a lot today. I will say on the Sutter front, as the NHL's hottest coach, he does have options. He does, at least. So don't feel too bad for him. But you brought up Carberry before, Vingan. You're the first person I've seen, and I've seen quite a bit out there in general in NHL media about Spencer Carberry as a one of the hot assistant coaches who could be not hot like Daryl Sutter hot like people might want to hire him to be their head coach someday. Do you think could it be? Like the timing aspect of while he's still, of course, Toronto's still playing right now, waiting that out, do you think?
I mean, that certainly could be part of it. I think if you are going to make a coaching change, I think that you need it to be someone that, that you actually really want, not just, hey, one of the retreads that is currently available. Because there already have been a few coaching moves over the past couple of weeks. And look, Spencer Carberry, I got an email the other day that had the Vegas odds of who's going to be the new coach of the teams that are missing coaches right now. There's Calgary now, there's Washington, there's Columbus. I'm trying to think of it, if there's any other one. Anaheim. There are multiple openings, and Carberry was at or near the top of pretty much every list. I think he was the favorite to be the new coach in Washington, which would make sense because he was a part of that organization for a few years, which is why I think he would be a good fit here, just because he worked with Barry. He was the Capitals AHL coach when Barry was coaching in Washington. Carberry has been a coach of the year in both the ECHL and the AHL. He's clearly doing a good job in Toronto this season as an assistant coach. To me, if the Predators are to make a coaching change, my personal preference would be someone who can grow with the team. The example I've used, and it's sort of an extreme example, is like what the Avalanche found in Jared Bednar. Jared Bednar had been a coach in the minor leagues. He had won championships in the minor leagues. He takes over a team that's one of the worst in the NHL, if not the worst in the NHL at the time he's hired, and look what he's been able to build them up as. I'm not saying that, the Spencer Carberry type would make the Predators a Stanley Cup champion in a few years, but I think if the Predators are to make a coaching change, I think they need someone who, like Bednar with Colorado, can grow with the team. Like, I don't think this is a team that needs a veteran, firm hand. I think this is a team that if they make a change needs a coach that's looking for his first big break.
Adam Vingan with us here on Robby and Rexrode. So, Adam, a wild start to the playoffs. What do you make of Tampa Bay, Colorado, the Boston Bruins, and the New York Rangers all being eliminated in round one?
Yeah, I think the team that's still alive, that's the most recent champion, was Carolina, and that was in 2006.
Yeah.
So that's how that's how.
Robby.
Yes, who's also still available to coach. By the way,
he is.
But something tells me he's not going to be rehired here. Just talking about wearing out your welcome and whatnot. But when you talk about those teams going down, you have to start with Boston. Statistically, it was the biggest upset in a 7-game series in NHL history. When you look at the point differential between the Bruins and the Panthers in the regular season, I would believe it was 43 points. The all-time biggest upset by point differential was 48 points by the 1982 Kings over the Wayne Gretzky-led Oilers, but that was a 5-game series. So this, in terms of 7-game series, it was the biggest upset in NHL history. Tampa, I just feel like when you've played as much hockey as they have over the past several years, it's eventually going to catch up to you. And the Rangers are interesting too, just because they were the team to me that did that was the most obvious at the trade deadline. Like, we are going to load up to try to win. You trade for Vladimir Tarasenko, you trade for Patrick Kane. Neither of them were impactful minus a game or two in that series against New Jersey. I doubt either of them will be back in New York. So and Colorado too, just so many injuries. Landeskog didn't play at all this season. Cale Makar was suspended for a game. Andrew Cogliano fractured his neck in a game and came back and played, which is absolutely insane. Of those, obviously the Panthers over the Bruins is the shocker just because of how dominant the Bruins were. But, look at the Kraken, who not only knocked off the Stanley Cup champions, they won last night, despite Joe Pavelski scoring 4 goals. I think the Kraken are a really fun team, and I look forward to Ellie Tolvanen's day with the Cup.
He's playing well. Kraken Panther is going to be amazing. Well, to take this to, like you mentioned it, look, the Bruins thing is just shocking, okay? But the Panthers are, they got guys. Kachuk's a guy. They've got talent. I think you can make an excuse, like you said. Colorado you won it last year. You have ridiculous injuries. Tampa, they've played so much more hockey than everybody else over the last few years, and they got screwed by the refs. But are the Rangers, Adam, a great example of why, if you have a good thing going and you have good chemistry, that you shouldn't just bring in multiple rental players and think that's going to work as well as for you? I just feel like they're a good example of kind of a cautionary tale against that.
Yeah, you could even look at the Bruins as well. The Bruins, they acquired Dmitry Orlov, they acquired Garnet Hathaway, they acquired Tyler Bertuzzi. They were very busy too. And it works both ways, right? If the Rangers win that series, we're talking about how great those moves were. But it just felt like with the Rangers, they acquired Tarasenko fairly early, and came closer to the deadline. It just felt like they couldn't find the right line for them to play on. Their power, like you look at their power play, for example. I think their top power play for most of the post deadline time was some combination of Patrick Kane, Mika Zibanejad, Artemi Panarin, Chris Kreider, and Adam Fox. Like Vladimir Tarasenko was not on their first power play. Vincent Trocheck, who had been on their first power play, was not on their first power play, and their power play suffered later in the series. So yeah, I certainly think it could work as a cautionary tale, but it's sort of that, well, if it works, if they beat the Devils in Game 7, we're not having this conversation. But, I just think that, I wonder, it is interesting to see, look at the teams that have made it to the second round and look at the moves they've made at the deadline. Of course, the Oilers acquired Matthias Ekholm. Vegas acquired Ivan Barbashev. The Stars were fairly quiet. They got Max Domi and Evgeny Dodonov. The Panthers, I don't think the Panthers did anything at the deadline. The Leafs acquired, I think, 6 players at the trade deadline. Yeah. Brian O'Reilly, Nola Chari, Sam Lafferty, Luke Shen. So that's the other example. Is the Maple Leafs were, I think, the busiest team at the deadline, and look where they are right now. So it's hard to say. It's like it better work is really the point. Like if you're going to make all those moves, it better work.
Adam, last thing for you here. Sitting here today in the second round, just starting for Jersey and Carolina tonight, and then Edmonton and Vegas. The first part of the second round got started last night. Who is Adam Vingan's Stanley Cup favorite at this moment?
I have a really hard time at this point picking against the Oilers. The Kings are an elite defensive team, and the Oilers I think went like 56 or 57% on the power play in that series. After having the greatest power play ever, like literally during the regular season, and they have some question marks. I don't know if how good of a goalie Stuart Skinner is, but when you have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl averaging 2 points a game, basically, you can overcome an untested goalie. I think Ekholm has been fabulous for them. He's really helped their defensive core, and. When I look at the teams, they're the team that sticks out to me as the one that is probably the hardest to stop offensively, and I think that will make them the favorite. I think out of the East, I know it's easy to say this because they won last night, but, I mean, as Joe said, Florida's got some dudes.
Yeah.
I mean, Matthew Tkachuk is a certified superstar. Carter Verhaeghe, Alex Barkov, Nick Cousins scoring a goal last night. He's not a dude, but he's on that team. You know, it would not shock me if Florida, by the way, because it's funny because we talk about how big of an upset that was. The Panthers won the President's Trophy last year. So how big of an underdog were they really? So it wouldn't shock me if the Panthers made a little miracle run, a surprise run here. I really like their team a lot.
Adam Vingan, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. Adam, great stuff as always, my friend. Thanks for taking time to be with us this morning.
All right, let me know if you figure out which one is Will Levis's girlfriend and which one is his sister.
We will get on that investigative capital J journalism work.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, Adam Vingan, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. Coming up next, it's time for the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode. You can check it out every morning here on the program. We will do that next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game has an all-star lineup Monday through Friday. Batting first at 6 a.m., it's Robby and Rexrode.
Yeah, you take that. You take that. Take 80% of that.
Followed by Chase and Michelle at 9.
Couldn't hit the broadside of a barn.
I need my caffeine so much.
Then it's Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace at 11.
Yep, green light, let's go.
You've got a lot of options.
He say, she say. And bringing it home at 2, Jared Stillman for Stillman and Company.
That guy will be a good coach.
We are Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
The choice is yours, Wednesdays at 8:45. Brought to you by Jarrett Companies. Now hiring experienced sprinkler experts. Go to jarrettfire.com. JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, a company above and beyond industry standards.
She would do anything for you. She's your biggest fan. She's your mom. And mom turned upside down spells wow. So give her a day full of wows this Mother's Day, starting with an incredible gift from the Diamond Cellar. Hi, it's Alex Johnson from the Diamond Cellar. From classic diamond jewelry to luxury pieces from our world-class designers, we have the perfect gifts for every mom, stepmom, or grandmother. Show her how much you care with something she really wants, but would never buy herself. Visit us at the Diamond Cellar in Green Hills. The possibilities are endless.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Tuning into the baseball game, monitoring the incoming storm, catching your favorite talk show. These are just a few of the reasons more than 80 million Americans depend on AM radio each month. And did you know AM radio is the backbone of the emergency alert system, keeping us safe in dangerous times? It's reliable, free, and public safety depends on it. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress we need AM radio in cars. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
I can go from 0 to 60 way too fast.
Who knew electric vehicle owners were having so much fun?
20 or 30 years ago, I owned a gas sports car, and this car is much quicker.
It's a great, fun car to drive. When you put your foot on the accelerator, it just goes.
They're fun, they're fast, they're efficient.
Visit driveelectrictn.org to learn how you can start having fun driving an electric vehicle.
Sponsored by the East Tennessee Clean Fuels Coalition, the Tennessee Association of Broadcasters, and this station.
At Lowe's, we're always bringing pros more ways to save on the brands you trust. Right now, save up to $50 on select Tough Built products, including the new exclusive Tough Built Steelhead Framing Hammer. Plus, you'll always save big on job lot quantities when buying select building supplies in bulk. Because Lowe's knows savings, Lowe's knows pros. Must ask cashier to apply discount at time of purchase. Online discount is automatically applied in cart. See Lowe's.com or associate for more details and qualifying items. Lowe's reserves the right to limit quantities. Discount taken at time of purchase. Valid through 5/5.
They're homegrown in Nashville, discussing the biggest topics in the SEC.
The fans are going to want the rivalries to stick around. They've lost to Alabama every year.
The NFL.
What if all the top 3 quarterbacks went 1, 2, 3? You've got to draft your guy at 2.
And anything in between.
From thinking we know everything to then forgetting about everything we thought we knew the day before.
They're Jonathan Hutton and Chad Withrow on Outkick's Hot Mic.
Out of the gates, ready to go.
Weekdays from 2 to 5 on 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app. You're locked into Robby and Rexrode.
Every morning, first thing.
Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment, let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant, now on Robby and Rexrode.
You're talking about a microdiscectomy. Ugh. By the way, I didn't even realize this. He also has had a torn ACL in the past and sciatica symptoms from lifting weights that required a different surgery. So 2 surgeries plus an ACL.
What was that last word?
Sciatica. Sciatica, and I may be totally butchering that, symptoms from lifting weights.
You probably
sciatica?
are.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh, it's sciatica. Oh, my God, I'm an idiot.
And it is that time of the day, time for the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode. I'm so glad that we have heard that audio more often in the recent weeks. And we'll hear it more moving forward.
Really, really excited about that. It's a really great development on WHMR.
It really is.
All right, before I launch into this, I do want to say, I'm actually really excited that Jessica Alba and Anna Kournikova both came up today. Now I forgot, it's been such a long time. And now the next time Katie brings up Jason Bateman, who, by the way, that Katie has a life-size cardboard cutout of Jason Bateman in her office, and I'm not kidding about that.
Yes.
That's a rant for another day, but now I don't have to just bring up Alyssa Milano. I forgot about Jessica Alba and Anna Kournikova. Anyway, last night I took my Caroline and a friend shopping for an outfit for Friday because apparently the Swifties must have the perfect outfit for a night concert in the rain.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was all fine. I actually saw Delaney Walker, got to chat with him for a bit. He likes Chig. Asked him about Will Levis. He said, "Well, Tannehill's quarterback. He's not wrong." When the shopping was done, let's get some food. Go to a place with Greek offerings, which is that's a go-to for me. Okay, so I order a lamb gyro plate with rice. Then you have a little cucumber salad in one of the little things in the little styrofoam thing, and then some hummus in one of the other little areas. Right? Get this all the time. The guy asked if I want extra meat. So, what am I going to say? I mean, do I look someone who says no to something like that? No, I'm not going to say no. Okay, so the cost normally $12.99 plus $2.99 for my pop. He rings it up, $23. I mean, how much extra meat are we talking here, man? So they start putting the platter together. They got a nice big helping of the cucumbers and tomatoes. Big dollop of hummus. You get some pita with the hummus. Great. So I go check on Caroline and her friend. They got food another place. Make sure they're all settled. Go back to get my stuff. They've closed up the styrofoam container. I mean, it's absolutely bulging. It's like me trying to put on one of my dress shirts from 10 years ago. Okay, so I'm like, what is going on with this thing? I take this thing to the table. I open it up. I'm telling you, if you've seen the movie The Silence of the Lambs, this is why the lambs were crying. Okay, I mean. I must have had 4 pounds of seasoned lamb meat off the spit in front of me, okay? That's cool, okay? Except it covered everything. Lamb off the spit is not a grease-free meat. This dude put meat on top of everything.
Oh, man.
I couldn't find my salad. I couldn't find my hummus. The rice. Is there rice in there? Somewhere down there. I had to eat my way to my sides, okay? And I did, don't get me wrong, and I really liked it. But by the time I ripped through a lamb or two to find some daylight, I had hot, greasy salad and hot, greasy hummus. And by the time I got there, I was stuffed. I ate just the lamb, or I guess the lambs. again, I mean, I liked it very much, but folks, we need balance in our meals. I would ask anyone who puts a platter like that together, like if extra meat is your option, if it costs $7 and suffocates everything else on the plate, maybe you're overdoing it a little bit.
The guy wasn't joking. Extra meat. He was not playing around, man. That's awesome.
Portion control.
Like, here's a picture of this is Frankie the Lamb. Would you like him too? Like, what?
Go out back to the farm out here. We got a full lamb for you. Jeez. Oh, that's amazing. Good gracious. $23.
That's all.
Also, I volunteered to be Caroline and her friend's chaperone at the Taylor Swift concert.
Well, let me tell you, that could spark a different rant for me. My wife has been searching for a Taylor Swift concert outfit for approximately 2 weeks and is still yet to land on one.
I love that. You guys don't understand. You need a new outfit for an event like this.
Right, while you get poured on in a dark stadium at night.
Yes,
but,
that is true.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
cool.
Yeah, you do. You need
You're there
it.
to watch. You're there to watch Taylor Swift.
It's a whole experience. It's part of the experience.
Yeah. No, I've learned.
Can't
Caroline
wait.
got, and that's the thing too, is Katie wasn't there to approve this outfit, so this could be a whole other issue.
You know what my biggest takeaway from the story that Joe just told was? That he and Delaney Walker shop at the same places. That's what happens when you're made of money. You can go shop at the same places as former NFL players.
Well, I was sitting on a bench because I didn't want to actually shop for this Taylor Swift clothes anymore, and then he went into a hat store.
There we go.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Lady Walker. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. Joe, by the way, some breaking news in the NFL. You'll find this shocking. Randall Cobb signing a 1-year deal with the New York Jets.
Awesome.
Yeah, could have never seen that one coming.
Jordy Nelson's next.
Yes. 615-737-1025. Coming up next, we'll be joined by Paul Kuharsky from paulkuharsky.com. We'll get his thoughts on the Will Levis pick and the Titans draft as a whole. That's coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every day we are live and local.